right, and welcome to another edition of Daily Drinkers Podcast. This light is bothering me, so I'm going to adjust it during the intro. My name is Rocky. We're doing a little bit late tonight, and I got corporate coming into work tomorrow, so I am drinking. Oh, you can't see it. It's sweetened cherry carbonated water. Thanks to the fine producers of HEB, a very big grocery store chain down here in the South.
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's the only grocery store in the South.
It's pretty much the only store in the South, but that's a different topic.
Well, tonight I'm marbles as always.
Tonight, wow. Tonight you're
Tonight I
marbles. Who
am.
are you usually?
Um,
Darbles is who you usually are.
Darbles is usually that, but tonight something different. I have some Woodford Reserve bourbon.
And my light went out.
Of course. Ooh,
Big light.
that's some strong stuff. Did it go out as in burnout or?
No, it went out in like charge.
Oh, okay. It's off like battery. It isn't just like you can't just USB plug it into your laptop.
Oh, I can. I just got to figure out where my USB plug is.
I also have a secondary drink, some Light Sky Blue Moon.
Blue Moon.
If I want something fizzy. Ah, man, I had to sneeze earlier and it messed up my sinuses, so I probably sound terrible.
Just a little stuffy today.
Yeah, I had to leave
right.
the house today, and that always jacks up my sinuses.
Oh, hello there. Hi.
Hey.
That is bright. I thought it looked a little off. Better.
Yeah, it looks more even.
Yeah, before I looked like I was some kind of creeper serial killer hangout room.
Yeah, so what's happening this week?
Well, apparently I have a floating mic dongle right here, so that's cool. It's the new wireless setup.
Just a floating mic head.
Ooh, look at that. It's been a wild week.
Yeah, me too.
Always eventful changes at work. Per usual, corporate coming in tomorrow, and I'm assuming it has to do with one of our mystery shop parades. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna go over video of where we messed up, because we probably did.
Can you think of the scenario?
Well, so the mystery shop wants us to handle car write-ups a very specific way. If we do that with every single customer, we basically spend 15 minutes at check-in and 15 minutes at checkout with the customer.
Okay, it's a long time, feels like.
But they don't want our check-ins to last longer than 3 to 5 minutes.
So if you do it the way they want you to do it, it's 15 minutes long. But they want you to do it in 3 minutes.
Yes. So
okay,
we're kind of at a crossroads here, because if I'm spending 30 minutes per day just checking in and checking out my customer, I work a 10-hour day, so that gives me 20 people total. But that doesn't include the miscellaneous stuff that we need to spend time with going through our customers. We're supposed to spend an additional 30 to 45 minutes per customer each day with that. But they don't want us to have more than 10 to 12 customers a day. So I don't know where we're supposed to be getting these time frames from, because if I'm spending an hour and a half with each customer, I'm already at like 16 hours on the day on the bare minimum of what they want. And we're writing up on a busy day 20 to 30 cars a day. So unless the days are getting longer, don't really know what they're expecting out of us.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
I mean, there's only so much time. And then the other thing that's...
literally so much time. It's how time works.
Yes.
The Earth spins at a constant time. So,
If you want us to do our job right, I understand. We should spend 45 minutes to an hour with each customer. That makes the job personable.
great,
Doing
but
that
you can do like how many customers in a day if you spend an hour with each one?
roughly with our schedule,
Like six
10 customers
customers?
per day. 10 customers per day because we do 10-hour days, sometimes 12-hour days.
Yeah, so that means I had similar things at some previous jobs where you had to, when we did our timesheets, they wanted you had to spend, if you're there for 8 hours or 9 hours, you had to spend 100% of the time working
On
on things, and you're like, but no one does that. uh it's like nobody works 100% of the time on a task.
one
there's
thing,
there's like, people take breaks and people go to the bathroom and people like go to lunch and stuff, and
and urgent things get thrown in front of those other things.
yeah, but they're like, no, you had to spend 100% of the 8 hours that you're there working. It's like, well, nobody does that at any job, really. I mean, maybe if you work at Amazon, where you pee in bottles and stuff, but, uh, but yeah, it's like no one works 100. No one spends exactly 100% of their day at work
Doing their
actively
specific job.
working. It's like there's always time where
Some,
you're not exactly working.
yeah.
You could be in a meeting for something. It's like, I'm not working because I'm in a meeting for a half hour or an hour. So yeah, I'm at work doing work, but I'm not working on a specific project.
And then you're going to say that I don't get paid for that, but it was a meeting about a project. So how do you figure that out?
Yeah, it's they ask you to do things that are like physically impossible, um, because you can't do like they want you to handle more customers, but if you're spending an hour with each customer and you spent an hour with each customer every hour for 10 hours straight, you only can max out at 10 hours. Like, mathematically, that's how it works. So I don't see why they're asking you to do more than that if it's not
We
physically possible.
we legit have a 2-page printout of just bullet points of what we need to do with each one. There's 6 steps from start to finish, and each step probably has 15 points in it.
Has anyone ever brought that up?
We don't talk about that, sir, because that's not the point. The point is we need to do our job right. Okay, got it.
All right.
So you want me to do my job right, and then when I do my job right, you get mad at me for doing it that way, because now I'm exploiting the system into my favor. I'm confused here.
Yeah, I've pulled that where it's something that's impossible and just say, yeah, okay. And then
Sure.
I go back and just do what I was doing because it's working and the results
My
speak for themselves, but
my
sure.
new favorite is, all right, let's go out there. You show me how this gets done. Well, I don't know how to do your job. Exactly. So why are we having this conversation?
Yeah, why are you telling me how to do my job if you don't actually know how to do my job? Yeah, no, it's a conundrum in the workplace.
And
And it
everyone
seems
experiences.
everyone experiences that to a degree. It's in some version relative to what they do for a living.
And I gotta admit, the little Ethan Hawke thing I got going on is starting to grow on me.
Yeah, it's not bad. I gotta trim mine down. It's getting too long.
Just go for the straight marbles goatee.
Yeah, people seem to like that. I don't.
The
I
weirdest thing.
I hate
So
it the most.
I hated goatees for a while, but I've realized how much more respect you get out of people. And the weird thing is, I figured it out because the goatee is more of a distinguished older gentleman style facial hair.
So they
No young
associate.
guys walk around with goatees nowadays.
No.
So if you wear a goatee, obviously you're an older person, and they automatically give you like that level of respect, whether they know it or not, and they listen to what you have to say a lot more. It's the craziest thing
Yeah.
because I will admit I have a baby face. So if I am completely shaven, I have a haircut, and my hair is parted, people give me grief like, who's this little 20-year-old kid doing nothing? If my hair is a little bit longer, styled a little bit more calmer, and I have some kind of facial hair, different conversation with everyone.
Yeah.
Same thing between fat people and skinny people too. When I was chunkier, people kind of looked at me like, who the hell are you? And when I was thinner, I got a little bit more respect. Then when I got like really sickly
thin.
then people were like, oh, who are you? And you're like, okay, there's a fine line to walk.
There's
here.
a fine line, yeah.
And I don't think people realize it, but it's just like prejudices in our nature that just kind of pick up on.
I mean, people are largely visual creatures, and when they look at something, anything, they make an assumption of it, whether they like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally anything, not just people, but anything. They go to a store, everything they look at, they're gonna decide, do I like that or not? I mean, it's just what people do.
I'll impulse buy something just because it makes sense at that time.
Yeah, you know, that
do I
clock,
need it? Probably
like,
not.
I like that, so they buy it. Or I don't like that. They think it's hideous.
Like this right here.
Yeah, like that blurry black moon behind your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, literally everything you look at, you judge. It's just what people do. It's not for malicious reasons. It's just you make a judgment in order to categorize the thing you're looking at.
Interesting.
I don't know. That's my opinion on it. I don't have any scientific proof to back that up.
I have 100% scientific proof.
But just watching people make decisions like that, and you're like, why do you feel that way? Oh, they just did not like it, apparently. Okay. It's personal
funny
preference.
thing we did at work. We used to have 2 lanes coming into the garage, and everyone would just pull up and we'd go check them in. Well, we flipped it around because our valets kept messing things up and turning in cars that were done, and then thinking cars were done when they weren't. So it turned into a headache. So we have 1 lane going in, 1 lane coming out. So we have cars facing 2 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
Our customers that have been coming here for the eons of time are now magically going in the other lane and pulling their cars to face the other direction. Even though they know you pull straight in to the garage, car facing us. We've done it with them for
coming
years.
and going.
And then there's a car facing the other direction. They will now go around the building and come in the backside where the techs come to pull their car in. For no reason. Because we've asked a couple of our customers, like, we're just trying to figure out, you are an everyday customer. You know our rotation. Why did you just start doing this? Well, we saw the other car, so we just thought this is a new thing you're trying out. All right. Honest opinion.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
But it came down to, they looked at it and said, I want my car to face that way. They didn't have to, but they wanted to.
They went out of their normal rotation. Yeah. Like, okay, here you go. And
that was better for them for whatever reason. That was more appealing than to just park their car the way I've always done it. I don't know. Yeah, people are weird. People just do weird stuff. No, I noticed like the facial hair thing when at my Subway job when I used to shave regularly, like every couple days or so. I didn't have a lot of facial hair, so it was just easier to shave it. But in the area I worked in, there's a lot of Hispanic people. It's probably like 50-50, 50% Hispanic, 50%, white, Caucasian. And I spoke Spanish, but a lot of the Hispanic people would come in and they would try to speak broken English to me. And if I felt that they were doing it not because they wanted to speak English, but because they thought I just wouldn't understand them, I would respond in Spanish. And they would get like surprised that I could speak Spanish. And so they would talk to me in Spanish and I would help them in Spanish.
Que gringo.
Yeah, but I at one point decided I'm just going to grow a mustache. and not a beard. I couldn't grow a beard, but I could grow, this mustache basically. So I did. And the same people that would talk to me in English instantly would talk to me in Spanish, but they wouldn't remember who I was. They just assumed I knew Spanish. So I would talk to them in Spanish. And then later I shaved, and the same thing would happen where they would try to talk to me in English and they would forget that I could speak Spanish because they don't remember me. But I remember that customer, like I remember that
Yeah.
lady or whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, I had a mustache. You assumed I spoke Spanish. I don't have facial hair, and now you assume I only speak English.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that is weird. But it happened to more than one customer. It was, probably a dozen people that would do that. That would switch on what they chose to speak to me as, depending on if I had facial hair or not.
It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand.
Now I just have it because I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm. Mainly what this is. I hate shaving.
Yeah, I
Especially
just
every
hate
day.
shaving. And I have no reason to shave regularly. I dropped the thing I was holding. I don't know where it went.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Um,
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, danger.
oh no, my dental paperwork. I can't destroy that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
you
where it
can.
went. No, I told you earlier. I went to the dentist today, and I got a consultation for braces. And the doctor told me, well, he's like, we could do regular braces, clear or not clear, like yeah, the regular metal ones or the clear ones, or we could do Invisalign. And after talking about it and like seeing the price difference, which was it was like $1,100 difference. So it was like 51. It was like 5158 versus 6200 even. So I'm like, I might as well just go, even though it's $1,100 more. I might as well go with the Invisalign because I don't need metal glued to my teeth in that scenario.
Yes. And nothing is worse than getting a wire or your lip stuck between the wire as he tightens it and you scream in pain.
Yeah, and
It's
I've known
miserable.
people who've had braces and how much it cuts up the inside of your mouth and how it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult. They're difficult to clean, and all of that. And I thought, yeah, I'm just not interested in doing that. I'd rather go the easier route
Yeah.
and just
Not with
pop
all
those
the
things on and
advancements
off.
they made.
Yeah. I'm like, I might as well just pop those things on and off. Now, the only problem with those is he was telling me that um, you can straighten the teeth, but you can't like move them up and down.
Yeah.
There's no way to do that with those. It will just move your teeth in whatever position they're in. It
It'll
moves
center
them
them.
to straighten them, but it won't move them up and down. So now what he did throw in, which was cool, was he said that he gets a lot of clients that have had braces but don't like the way it turned out when they were done, and they basically have to get braces again. And he said that he goes, a lot of doctors have preferences over what they think straight teeth should look like. He goes, but really it's up to you. Like, how do you want your teeth to look? And
Because when you
that's,
factor in head size,
yeah,
smile, gestures, what might be technically straight, when you factor in all of your facial aspects, you're like, that's not straight.
yeah, to the person whose teeth they are, they may not like the way it looks when it's straight. So he says, he goes, I do different things. He goes, some people want, their front teeth a little longer in the front, or their canines a little further down, or, they want things positioned a certain way. And he's like, so he goes, my job is to make your teeth straight the way you want them straight. He goes, if you go through the whole Invisalign treatment and it's still not exactly what you want, he goes, then I will put braces on for free to adjust whatever you want adjusted that those weren't able to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's cool because, I figure, one, I may not have to do braces, right? But if I do, I'd rather do it for a short amount of time than the entire time.
Yeah. Get everything to where it needs to be, and then
Yeah.
just have the braces do the fine tuning.
Do fine tuning for, a little bit for a shorter amount of time than spending like, a year with braces.
I had mine for a year and a half. Ugh.
Yeah, I think he was saying that it would probably take a year. If I did braces, it'd take about a year. And if I did Invisalign, it'd be about a year and a half. It would take a little bit longer. But he also said I don't need my wisdom teeth removed because mine grew in. And I asked about that because I know some people who've gotten braces and they're like, we got to take your wisdom teeth out because, for whatever reason, you don't have room to move. Or
Because that's just like they train you. Number one in medical school is wisdom teeth. Take them out.
Yeah. And he's like, no, he goes, yours look fine. He's like, we could do it with wisdom teeth. He goes, or without. He goes, if you want to take them out after you're done, you could do that too. He goes, the biggest issue that wisdom teeth would cause would be they would put strain on the rest of your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're taking up space, and they'll push, they'll have pressure on your teeth. He's like, but we can totally straighten them with them in. So I'm like, cool. Because that was one thing I wasn't looking forward to, not because of like just to get them yanked, and that didn't bother me. It was more of like, cool, I'm gonna have discomfort for like a while after getting them pulled. That's a whole thing I have to do, then go do braces. And I'm like, that's just a lot of steps just to lead up to it.
The level of Novocaine they would need to put in your mouth because you just don't get affected by it.
I don't react
all.
to that stuff. Yeah.
No. So they just be like, here, we're just going to go in there like Castaway and just go king.
Pretty much. They'll shoot me up with Novocaine and then be like, all right, we're ready to start. And it's worn off. Actually, that happened.
And I can feel everything.
That happened a couple weeks ago. That happened. I had to get, I went to go my regular cleaning, and the dentist looked in there. He's like, you have a chipped tooth in the back. One of your molars is chipped. He's like, so we're going to have to like fill it.
Okay.
And he's like, do you know when it happened? I'm like, nope. Didn't even know it was chipped. And he's like, yeah, you're missing a piece. He goes, so we have to fill it so it doesn't, get worse. And so he's like, but it's really close to the gum line. So he had to use a laser to cut away some of the gum so he can fill it correctly. And he's like, this shouldn't hurt. He's like, but if it does, I can give you Novocaine. So I'm like, okay. He started, and I didn't feel anything. It kind of felt like someone was just like touching my gum, but it didn't feel sharp or anything. It just felt like something was rubbing there, and then it hurt. Like it felt
like it feels like somebody got a knife and just went and cut a piece
and just
off.
cut it, and that hurt. And so I made a noise. He's like, that hurt? I'm like, yeah. I nodded because I had a bunch of stuff in my mouth. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you some Novocaine. He goes in there, injects it, waits 30 seconds or whatever, and then goes back at it. I didn't feel anything. By the time he was done and they started doing the cavity part, the Novocaine was already worn off. And that didn't hurt because he didn't have to like drill or anything. I think he had to like grind a piece a little bit, maybe to make it smoother or something so he could stick it on. But then the tech guy came in and just put the thing on, and then it was done. And then he did my teeth cleaning. But at that time, even the dentist was like, hey, you should talk to the orthodontist to see about braces, because I don't have a problem with like crooked teeth in the front. Like I don't have really messed up teeth, but my bottom jaw is too narrow, and some of the molars back here are actually like bent in, and they're kind of like snaked a little bit because there's not enough room. My jaw's just too narrow, I think, on the inside. So most likely they're probably gonna have to push it all out so that way they can sit straight next to each other. And another problem I have is I grind my teeth at night, which is probably how I chip my tooth. So the orthodontist today, I told him that, and he goes, well, we can build a night guard in your retainer. So that way, when you sleep at night, you're not grinding your teeth. You're, grinding on that. And that was another reason why I considered the Invisalign, and why he actually said that would be a good idea, was because I grind my teeth, wearing the Invisalign at night would act like a night guard.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't actually grind my teeth. I would be grinding that thing together. And then those, they change out like every month or so. I have to put a new one in that's slightly
And
different or
every two and
whatever.
a half weeks, you're gonna have a hole grinded into them, and
Probably. Because they look super thin. They're like really thin.
Hated my plastic retainer. I
Yeah.
had a metal one and I had a plastic one. A plastic one was miserable.
Was it just a bottom teeth or both?
So I
Top
have
or
a
bottom?
permanent. I had it actually for both, because on bottom I have a permanent retainer across
Huh.
like these teeth right here, across the front. It's just glued to the back of my teeth.
Yeah.
They call it a permanent retainer. So before they kind of like, after they pull my braces off, they have the adjustment period, so everything kind of sits back, because my gap that's up here was closed, but because I have a strong muscle right here, started pushing it back out.
Yeah.
So the dentist let everything kind of reset. I had a plastic retainer. About 2 weeks later, everything was kind of situated. They put the permanent one in, and then I had a top retainer. And I wore that
Uh,
only at night for about 6 months. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
yeah. So I'm probably gonna have to have. I don't know what kind of retainer they're gonna want to put in after. If it's just the bottom one, or if it's gonna have to be both.
If I remember correctly, they had the permanent one on bottom because for whatever reason, the bottom will shape your mouth. So if your bottom stayed pretty well intact, so will your top.
Okay.
How that makes sense, I don't know, but it made sense at the time.
I don't know. Um,
Body's weird like that.
I mean, I guess I have a pretty large mouth on the inside. Because I took when I had to get a night guard a couple weeks ago, and they took a mold in my mouth, and after they pulled it out, the dentist looked at it. He goes, "Man, you got a huge mouth."
You're all, thank you,
um,
dentist.
I'm like, "Cool." I mean, I don't know if he says that to everybody, but they also, the poor girl who put in the mold, she had to sit there and hold it to the roof of my mouth for a minute, 2 minutes, whatever. When it solidified, it was time to pull it out. She couldn't get it out. It was like
It just got
stuck. It was
stuck.
stuck to my teeth, and she had her like hand on my forehead and was like trying to yank down on it and use her like body weight to try to pull it out, and it just wouldn't come out. And then she looked around like she was gonna get help because she couldn't get it out. And she's like, "I'm sorry, it's never gotten stuck like this before." And she's yanking on it, and it's not coming out. And she's like trying different positions and like trying to like get like behind me and pull it down, get in front of me and yank it down. And eventually it just unstuck with like a loud pop. It sounded like the when you open a Snapple. It sounded exactly like that. And it just like popped out. And she's like, "Oh man, that's never happened." And she like had to pull it out of my mouth, and the thing was the the it was a metal one, and it was like really big because she had to get all the way to my wisdom teeth in the back, so she had to use like the extra large size. And trying to pull that out with all the stuff in there, it like got
Yeah.
stuck on the way out. She yanked it out, and she goes, "Well, that's a good mold. We're not gonna have to do that again."
Oh, thanks.
I'm like,
Except
"Cool."
for when you do Invisalign, they're like, okay, we need to remold your teeth once a month.
Yeah. So that's one another thing that the girl at the front desk told me, that like with braces, she goes, you have to go in once a month and he has to manually adjust it, tighten
Mm-hmm.
it, and move the wire manually. She goes, with the Invisalign, um he can give you like 3 or 5 different months worth, and then you don't even have to come in. She goes, and then you just change them out yourself, every month to the next one.
Because they already have forecast how your teeth are going to move, and so
Yeah, because they're predicting, or they're forcing your teeth to move in a certain order. so they can just print them all out and then be like, okay, every month you got to switch it out, so it's constantly adjusting to the new one. I mean, I heard it hurts still and they're uncomfortable, but if it's gonna hurt, I'd rather have convenience of being able to take them out, eat, brush my teeth, and then put them back in, than like, oh, now I have to deal with braces and they hurt, and I have to like clean between the wires and
And then deal with rubber bands.
yeah, deal with rubber bands. And
That was
I
the
mean,
worst.
we don't know what's gonna happen when my teeth move, and after the end of like a year, if they're gonna say, we gotta use braces to like put them in a position that those won't fix. In that case, more than likely, I would have to use rubber bands and stuff, because it'd be moving up and down, not just left and right. So I don't know, but they said that it'll take about 8 weeks before I get the first set.
Dang.
So I have to go for a panel Sunday. I know x-rays are involved. They took a bite mold today. They took a top and a bottom mold. So I did 3 molds. First it was a bite, where I had a bite down on a thing that had mold on top and bottom. Then they did one of just the top and one of just the bottom. Then they took pictures of my teeth, and they had to stick like a big mirror in my mouth to take pictures of the back of my teeth. And the girl had trouble with that one. And she's like, wait, how does this, like, trying to figure out the orientation of the mirror and the camera so that way she could see the right. Yeah. And then they took a side profile and a front profile of my face with a camera, just a digital camera. So I guess to see how much it moves before and after, I guess. And then Sunday I have to go in, I know, for x-rays. And then they have to send all of that to Invisalign, and then they like 3D print or whatever the new castings that they're going to use to straighten them.
It's intense.
Yeah. So there's a lot that went into that, but hey, I don't have to glue wire to my teeth. The guy made a comment about like the types of braces. He's like, the clear ones, he goes, you'll read online that like a lot of people say don't get the clear ones because there's issues with the clear ones. He goes, that's because they used to use ceramic for the clear ones. He goes, but they would break, and they had a lot of, like, they weren't good quality. He goes, now we don't use that anymore. He goes, we use some other type of material that's still clear. And he's like, so a lot of people say like, oh, don't get the clear ones because the clear braces are worse. He goes, they're not anymore. And he goes, if people are still using the clear ones, he goes, it's because they're cheap. He goes, because it's cheaper. But he's like, I don't use the ceramic ones anymore. I'm like, okay.
Which is the case with everything. People always say, oh, you do this. All right,
yeah.
Whatever.
So, yeah, but the price has like doubled since my mom had braces. Like 20 years ago.
I think mine were about $4,000.
I think my mom's were around a little over 3. I don't think she got clear ones though. Did she? I don't remember.
I think it also depends on how severely bad your teeth are.
Yeah.
Like my sister's were about 8, but she had some crazy teeth situations.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom's were pretty bad, but I think she said it was somewhere around 3. And then they quoted mine for like 5,000. So I'm like, like everything, the cost is gonna go up over time.
And Marble's like, you guys take cash? Here you go. You want a Bitcoin? Here you go.
Yeah, I wish. It's although their payments over the course of 2 years, so I basically have a car payment now.
Me too. High five.
So, and another thing, I was able to call yesterday. Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I called the dealer nearby and to take my car in, and they looked up my VIN. They're like, "Have you been here before?" I'm like, no. Like, well, what's the last 8 digits of your VIN? And I'm like, 8? She's like, yeah, 8. I'm like, okay. So I read it off, and I had to read it off like 3 times because she just couldn't understand what the first two letters were. So I did that, and then I'm like, okay. I go, I know there's a. I even got a letter Monday about a recall, which I already knew about, but I hadn't done. And it's like an exhaust thing that a part they have to change out or whatever. So
Emissions related.
yeah, it's an emissions recall. So I'm like, okay, so I need to get that fixed, and oil change, tire rotation. I probably need new tires in general, but I'm gonna try to hold out on spending that.
Yeah.
So I'll just get them rotated while they do the oil change, and then I told them, if they could check just all the other fluids and just general, check it over, make sure there's nothing like going wrong. She goes like, okay, when can you drop it off for the day? And I'm like, can you do the weekend? She's like, yeah, I could do 8 in the morning. So I'm like, deal.
Let's
I'm gonna
go.
drop it off, and then I'll go spend the rest of my day doing whatever. I was gonna play video games all day, but now I have to help someone's dad with some electrical work. So I don't know when I'm gonna go play video games.
That's what happens when you played video games all last week.
Mm-hmm.
Playing Back for Blood.
We played from about 12:30 to about 5:30, and we got about most of the way, like 3/4. No, like 2/3 of the way through Act 2. We started on.
But you guys watch all the cutscenes too.
Yeah, there's only like one cutscene.
Jesus.
In like all of Act 2, I think there's like one cutscene or something. There, it really isn't. So it just takes a long time to like travel through a lot of those levels. Some of them you had to. Some of the missions, I think I can think of like one or two at least. I know of one where you have to defend an area for 3 or 4 minutes. So you just have to stay there and fight off like waves of enemies.
Sounds fun.
It actually was kind of fun because you can set up a minigun, and you're in a parking lot outside of like a diner, and you could set up like barbed wire around. Now we had a perk. We had bought those those team perks that you can get from the store. We had maxed. I don't know if we maxed it out, but we got one where you had like a 70 or 80% chance of reusability.
Oh, Jesus.
So for the like support item, so Pete had barbed wire, and he was able to just keep using it because it didn't disappear after the first time. So he got to use like he had, I don't know, 2 or 3 pieces of barbed wire, and he got to set up like 6 or 7 things of barbed wire.
Jesus.
So like those are really cool perks where it's like, oh, there's a chance that it won't go away when you use it. And
Which
so
comes in handy on the higher waves.
Yeah. So he set up a bunch of like barbed wire, and then it just slowed all the enemies down, and then he just laid into them. So there's some really cool like creative perks in that game. Some cool cards that like really give you like options on how to play. At one point, by the end of Act 1, I could carry, because I was using the old guy with glasses, I could carry like 9 grenades and 3 toolkits.
Jesus.
So, and like 2 or 3 bandages too. It's like and I was carrying over 300 rounds of shotgun. I was carrying over 1,100 rounds of pistol ammo. I could carry like 1,000 rounds of assault rifle ammo. So, yeah, it's just I kept getting all the cards that stacked ammo. So I had like one that gave me 25% more, one 50% more, like 2 of them that were 10% more ammo. So I just was muling ammo around for everybody.
Nice.
One guy was using LMG, so I just kept dropping him like hundreds of rounds of assault rifle ammo every time he ran out. So I'm like, yeah, this is like, it got really fun. But then once you finish Act 1, it sent you back to the base, and when you start Act 2, you start like with nothing again. Like all your active cards get cleared out. And I don't know if it was just a fluke, like we lagged out.
Or they might just have it per act, because that would make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. We haven't gotten to Act 3, so we don't know if it happens again in Act 3, then that's what they're doing. Every act it's like starting a
It's
new
like a
run.
standalone game.
Yeah, so it's like starting a new run. So you start out with all your cards cleared and all your but that means you have to go like rebuy stuff, and even your gun gets set back to default. But we did notice that as you progressed on, it seemed like the weapons and attachments that you found were
Get
higher
better.
and higher. So we were running like gold magazines and gold stocks and stuff by the end of Act One. All of us had like purple weapons.
I was
Um,
seeing some fun builds with like unlimited pistol ammo. There is the sawed-off shotgun. There's a build
yeah,
with that with slugs to where you can basically just snipe things from across the map. And if you have the build right, you have unlimited ammo. So you just have an unlimited sniper rifle shotgun.
yeah, which is amazing. There's a card that I haven't been able to unlock yet. That it's at the end of one of the trees, the supply depot trees, and it's you can carry two primary weapons.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I really, because I had so much pistol ammo, I kept finding like purple UMPs and like purple vectors and stuff. I'm like, I really want to go shotgun SMG. Put like an SMG with like like an ACOG on it, so I can snipe with it, and then use a shotgun for everything else. With like
Or
fast reload.
since most ACOGs have weak point damage, you could also hip fire that and do massive damage.
Yep. I put an extended mag on it, and you're basically like running a pseudo SMG or LMG.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really want to unlock that one so I can run um, shotgun submachine gun. But I was thinking like of Dink and Ryan. I'm like, this would be a lot of fun if they could actually stick to strategy.
That would be the hard. It would be fun on the first run through. The second run through would be a pain.
It would, yeah. Going through on easy would be fun because it's not as high stakes. Like we got all the way through into Act 2 without using a continue. Like on easy, it's not hard at all.
Yeah.
But trying it on the harder difficulties, you definitely need to stick to like roles.
You need to have builds. You need to
You
have
need to have builds.
designated characters.
Yeah, designated like perks.
For sure, one healer, one heavy, one whatever.
Yeah. So you definitely need to stick to roles, and I don't know, that would be kind of hard to convince them to not deviate. So there's a level though where you have to find someone's hand, and there's like a bunch of nests around, and you have to like the clear out the ridden, and then like you destroy the nest, and then like a organ will pop out, and you have to find this guy's
Jesus.
hand because his hand unlocks the safe room. So you're going through the level like trying to find this guy's hand, and when you find it, it's like an arm. It's like the top part of his arm, right, like down to about here, and then there's bone sticking out. And you hold it like a sword, like a machete, and you can like kill zombies with it. And there's an achievement for killing 10. And it's Bob's hand, and like it's just you got to find Bob's hand, and then like you find it, and then you just slap zombies with it, and they just instantly die.
Sounds invigorating. That's my kind of speed right there.
But they added in that level, they added like riot cop zombies, so they're basically like regular zombies, but they're armored because they're wearing riot gear, and so they take more damage. I'm like, that's a clever mechanic. Also,
Interesting
you
way.
can shoot their helmets off, and that exposes their heads.
An
But
interesting mechanic to make them stronger, but not really.
now I just imagine though on the harder difficulty how bad that's gonna be dealing with them.
Because from what I read, the starting is just whatever. The veteran is like hardcore, and the nightmare is just stupid.
Yeah, Pete had went through. Were you playing when Pete read over the differences?
I wasn't paying attention if he was.
He read over what the difference between Nightmare, well, like on the easy setting, there's no friendly fire. everyone takes a certain amount of damage. You deal a certain amount of damage. On the next level, I think there is like 35% friendly fire damage. So, and then on like the nightmare level, it's like 60% friendly fire damage. But it also has like they take more damage, you deal less damage, you don't have continues. Like there's just like a bunch of stuff that makes it a nightmare. And veterans not is pretty. It's like only has I think the only has a few things, and that was hard enough as it was. So I can only
Yes.
imagine adding all those other, especially stuff
But
like even
I
the
think once you get the cards unlocked and you get your builds right, I'm sure veteran turns into like rookie mode, and then the only thing that's really challenging is nightmare.
I mean, I think to a degree, veteran ends up a lot easier if you have a build, but the fact that you take friendly fire damage and the fact that there's just more enemies and they take more damage, like they absorb more damage, means you just spend a lot more time fighting them, which increases the chances you're going to lose health, either by friendly fire or just being smacked around.
That's why you
Um,
have a tank and the melee artist just go ham at the
yeah,
start.
that's where roles are really important because you're going to some people are going to basically take the damage because they can heal better. Um, but I just nightmare. I don't know. Like even with a good build, I think veteran it will be a lot easier, but it's still going to be a lot harder. Like a lot harder than the rookie. Because rookie, you get like 4 free health charges and at all the aid stations, and like there's just a lot of stuff they just give you. And then when you play on veteran, you're like, oh, it's I only get 1 health charge, and then I gotta pay 400 copper for everyone after that.
Hmm.
That sucks because we were able to pull our money together and buy a lot of the team upgrades on rookie. And
I guess
the
there's like money builds too, so you can have
yeah,
one character, probably the medic most of all, just have him get all the
collect
health,
copper.
health and money cards, and just have him go collect everything.
Mm,
You got one
speed
job,
collector.
bro. Just go collect everything and keep us alive.
Yeah, which I read some of the updates for the new PUBG changes for the new patch notes, and they're adding like the mortar and smoke grenade. I'm wondering like when they're gonna start adding like a medic type stuff because that will make things interesting.
Oh, if they bring the self reses to everyone like they have on the new map, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I saw on the text that you want to be the mortar man.
Oh, when I found out there's mortars and there's smoke grenades, 100% I will take an LMG, I will take a mortar, and I will take all the smoke grenades. I don't need anything else. I'm good.
um,
Because out of anyone that plays, I'm the one that's more than likely going to sit back somewhere.
and
I'm
drop
usually the
mortars
guy
on people.
that's still in a bush when you guys are in a firefight, and I'm still shooting from a bush. So
You know what? And I feel like 9 times out of 10, the reason why I'm in a firefight is
it's because
because
of a teammate.
I'm trying to help somebody else because somebody else got themselves in a firefight.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely start the firefights. I'll shoot at people occasionally, but I'm really the one that's like, "Hey, there's 3 guys over there," and then I go running towards them. I'm never that guy. I'm always sitting back. I'd rather sit back and watch and be like, "All right, where are they gonna go?" I'll just watch them for now because they're
Mm-hmm.
not at risk of attacking me. And then I see here automatic fire and someone go charging in, and so I end up getting drawn into it because I go chasing after them because when they go down, I'm gonna try to help them up.
And I'll just sit in that bush, and if somebody comes in that bush,
You sit in the
they'll lay
bush.
down next to me. I'll hold their hand and be like, "Hey, look at what we're looking at."
The amount of times I've been in the death screen watching you just sit in the bush.
Watching people right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
I did a good one 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I can't remember. I'm starting to hide in cars now. Me and Ryan
Oh.
rolled up into a building because we're playing Dungeons and Dragons mode.
Mm-hmm.
We roll up because we were just getting tore apart. 2 groups basically have us pinned in this housing complex. There's crossfire everywhere. Ryan's like, I'm going to make a run for it. They know I'm here. I gotta go. I was like, all right. And then the other group saw me, and I was like, oh, this ought to be fun. So I kind of weaseled off, but we had two cars. We had a Jeep parked, and I crashed another Jeep, but the second Jeep was sitting like this on one. So we had a normal car and then a Jeep with the front end lifted. So the one that had the front end lifted, I jumped in the back seat and I just sat there. Ryan took off running. They hunted Ryan down in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Then they were looking for me. They couldn't find me. They ran all the way around the car. They looked in the car. I swear a dude looked at me and they kept going. And then the other group started to engage them. So they got into it. Well, the second group comes over. They start investigating what's going on. They're going all over the car. Didn't see me at all. Third group comes rolling in.
Jeez.
I was like, Jesus. So everyone was just kind of shooting each other, and then the blue zone was closing. I was like, I gotta go. So I came behind the group. I shot one guy, but then I got obliterated. But I've been having a lot of fun just hiding in cars and then popping out on people.
I mean, yeah, that's a sound tactic. I just don't know how many people think of that. I mean, when I see cars parked out, I sometimes look in them to see if there's someone just sitting in there. Occasionally, a few times I've actually seen like someone sitting in the driver's seat, or like, I don't know, they're AFK or whatever, but and their teammates are running around doing stuff, and so it's like, oh, that guy's easy pickings because he's just sitting there. So
usually, if people investigate a car, they're looking on the ground or around the car to see what happened.
yeah, to look for any drops. They're not looking in the car because who's gonna sit in the car?
Exactly. Sometimes the most obvious places are the greatest hiding spots.
Yeah.
That's my new little fun thing to do.
How is the fantasy stuff? They make changes to it or no?
They made a lot of changes to it. Each class basically has two play styles.
Okay.
So the Pyromancer has his flamethrower, and I think he's got an LMG.
Just like a regular LMG?
Like the saw.
But like just a regular bullet gun, or does it do something special?
Like a bullet gun.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what it does, but it's his normal Pyromancer move and the bullet gun.
Which the Pyromancer is the flare gun, right? That fires like fire. Yeah.
Yeah. The cleric has his sword and shield, or his mason shield, and he goes around and he heals teammates.
Yeah, that's right.
Or he has a shotgun that debuffs enemies.
Okay.
So if he shoots them, they do less damage.
Yeah.
And then he also has the healing potions, which everyone can, if it's on the floor, anyone can walk over it.
Get health, yeah.
And then he has something else. I don't remember. So it was stupid. Then there's the ranger who has flash grenades that will buff your team. He has a crossbow and a sword. If you have the sword and you crouch, go invisible for like 15 seconds. If you're invisible and you hit somebody from the back, you basically do another 50% extra damage. So if you play it right, of course, you can do some serious damage. So what is Dink doing all the time? Trying to crouch somewhere, turn invisible, and sneak up on people. Except that usually never works out. And then the actual barbarian...
Not when you're trying to do it. It's only that's a type of a move that you do like when the circumstance is just that's what it's for. You know, you come around a corner and there's someone standing there with their back to you. Yeah, sure, do that, but not like try to do that.
And then the barbarian has his normal attack move. He has one where he does like a power lunge where he runs at you and then hits you for damage.
Yeah.
And then the second one is a giant axe, but it will pull people towards you.
Oh, so, that's to get around the fact that people just run away from the barbarians.
Yes. So there's also, he has a stun grenade. And the stun grenade puts everyone to sleep for like 5 seconds. So when I was first playing it, I was trying to throw the stun grenade into groups and get people. And I was like, this is stupid. Then the more I played with them, the more I was like, no, I just need to throw the stun grenade on the ground, run close range to a group, and then pull them in, and then it'll stun them when they get pulled in. Yeah. Once I figured out that, we were just destroying people.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time we played it, I played as the barbarian a lot.
Just running around.
One, nobody else seemed to really want to. They all wanted to play the wizard or the ranger.
Everyone wanted the wizard.
And so I would like, let them fight for that. I'll play as a barbarian and just beat the crap out of people. Um, but there was an issue where um, people would run away from you, and because you all like run this, unless your barbarian is you get boost, right, where your all your skills go up,
Hmm.
your speed and all, or whatever your perk is goes up. So like barbarian, he would max out, like his sprint would be faster than everyone else. But early on, or if you don't find a bunch of enemies, you don't get boosted. So people could just outrun you, or not outrun you, but they run the same speed as you, and so you never catch them. So I felt that was always the struggle of you're chasing somebody and then somebody else is shooting you at range. You know, like the wizard or the rangers popping at you while you're chasing the dude, the other barbarian or whatever. So having a tool that brings them close to you kind of makes sense because that gets over that hurdle of you can never catch the person you're trying to kill.
So it was a fun, interesting mix, and it's going through November 1st. So I'm assuming we're probably gonna play that tomorrow and Friday and probably Saturday. And Sunday's Halloween.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to play tomorrow, Friday. Um, unless Meth's on, then I'll let Method play.
I
But
think it's a white arm.
yeah, mine too. Um, no, yeah, I'm gonna try to play as much as I. That's all I wanted to do this weekend too, was just to play games. I wanted to take a break and not deal with being an adult
It's fun to take those mental
and
breaks, and
just
then you.
just stay home and play video games all day.
So I was supposed to actually do adult things this weekend, and then I was like, nah, because I had I don't know what I ate, but it did not agree with my system. So Saturday I was kind of like, in a haze. So I did a bunch of shopping on Saturday instead. And then Sunday I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some things, and then the weather was like, nope. I was like, okay, nope, not doing it.
Yeah, it's getting hot again. It rained Monday. It was cloudy all day. It was cold. It rained, and then today it was like 80 degrees. And it's
Today the
supposed
day
to be, I think,
started
be hotter
out.
tomorrow.
It was 62 this morning, pouring rain, just buckets and buckets of rain. By 8 o'clock, it was partly cloudy. By 9 o'clock, it was 85 and completely sunny.
Yeah,
And it was like 91 by 2 in the afternoon.
your weather
Texas is
swings
weird.
crazy.
And it's going to drop down to 50 again tonight. So I don't get it. Don't think I ever will either.
It'd be nice if it gets cold, like actually gets cold out here. Be a nice change of pace, especially since it's not very common. Even the
Not in
times when it does get
California.
cold, it's not wet, so it never like. It's always like, oh, the air's cold, but it's not raining, so it's not gonna snow, even though it's cold enough to snow. But we had that, what do they call it, like a something river, a moisture river or whatever, up north, and Southern California barely got like the tail end on Monday, so that's why we got rain. But Northern California got hit with like inches of rain. I think it broke some records in some counties.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's good because we're technically in a severe drought still, so filling up some of those reservoirs up north is a good thing, I guess.
For the time being, but now it's going to be like torrential downpours all winter, and then summertime's going to be all fires.
Yeah, they said that there was there people were looking out for because they knew it was going to rain a lot this week or last weekend, so they were looking out for like mudslides and stuff because of all the fire damaged areas.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had so many fires, they're like, yeah, there's a lot of places where if it rains, it's just gonna be mudslides. Um, you know, hills are gonna collapse, and houses are gonna go with them,
Yay!
which is our cycles. It's
Insurance money.
fire season and then mudslide season. It's why if you live in California, just don't build your house on a hill.
Unless
Because
you can afford.
in the summer and the fall, you're gonna deal with your house catching fire because the hill's on fire, And then once the hill burns, oh cool, my house is saved. And then it's gonna have like 1 day of rain, and then your house is
And the
gonna go
whole
sliding
hill's
down the hill.
because there's no vegetation keeping the hill
Yeah.
together.
So just don't build your house on a hill.
If you have the money to do that, go live elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, with that, it's about an hour.
Another solid podcast in the books.
Another one in the books. Hopefully my new mic sounds better.
So
I
far,
probably
thumbs up.
I probably sound like crap because my sinuses are all messed up from leaving the house.
Just a little bit. Just sounds like a stuffy nose.
Yeah, it doesn't feel stuffy. They just kind of itch up here, like in the bridge of my nose. It feels like I want to sneeze. Yeah, but anyways, I guess next week we'll talk about all the
Fun adventures that await.
Yeah, and hopefully nothing's wrong with my car. Because if something is, I'm definitely going to talk about it.
Yes. And I know a guy you can talk about it too.
Yeah.
Guy who talks about cars all day long.
All right. Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good day. I don't know what time you listen to this. Good morrow, as they say. Ni hao, I don't know. High five to all the 7 listeners we have.
Yep.
Thank you for your support. You are loved. Good night.
Good night, everybody.